Welcome to YYC Business Speed Dating with Magic Mike. Book your free business video spotlight at YYCBusinessSpeedDating.com.
Welcome to Season 2, Episode 10 of Business Speed Dating with MagicMike.com. Today's guest is Cindi Banman from GenesisOrganizing.ca.
Hi, my name is Mike Duffy, author of Brand Sharks, Unstoppable Strategies for Business Leaders. Here's the book. I'm also producer of MupoEntertainment.com's technology show, Don't Get Hacked, Call Me for Help, and founder of Calgary cybersecurity startup, DontGetHacked.ca. Welcome to YYC Business Speed Dating with Magic Mike. That's me. My guest today on Business Speed Dating is Cindi Banman. Cindi, please look at the camera and explain exactly what you do in your business.
So I am the owner of Genesis Professional Organizing. I am a home organizer. I deal with stressed and frustrated people, deal with the areas of their home or storage spaces that are making them feel overwhelmed. So I go to people's homes and I do a lot of hands-on work to help people decide what to keep, where it belongs, and how to dispose of it. Specifically, some of the things that might look like is organizing living rooms or family rooms, bedrooms, any room of the house really, decluttering kitchens, pantries, all those lovely closets, sometimes doing wardrobe consults and edits so that it's easier to get dressed every day. Or it might mean setting up custom storage solutions in their garage or basement.
So ideal client type is then residential or?
Yes,
okay,
primarily residential.
Okay. Do you do anything outside the scope of residential or?
I just finished working on a project where we were dealing with a large shelter.
Okay.
The Professional Organizers of Canada will be doing a charity day where we will be working with ARCs. So
Okay, cool.
expanding into business right now, but that's not my ideal client at this point in time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I'm on a lot of Facebook groups and people are like, who can help me clean or this or this or this or this? And I was like, I think I know somebody, right? And then I was like, oh, wait, I'm pretty sure it's who I'm interviewing this week. So.
Yeah, typically my ideal client is women who are busy. They have a lot going on.
Got it.
And they feel like they don't have the time or energy to get around to organizing the big picture. They're too busy trying to survive.
Okay.
They're women with kids and all of the cooking, cleaning, and activities that go along with that.
I'm married and my wife complains a little bit about everything. It's like, we're always throwing stuff out and reorganizing, but of course things change and you're just like, that was a good idea at one point and now it's
It's a big picture thing. Sometimes my clients are business women who spend long hours at the office.
Mm-hmm.
And then most recently, I am dealing with more and more women who are kind of feeling like they're in that sandwich generation, where they've got their own homes, jobs, kids, vacation issues, but they're also maybe helping their parent downsize and don't know how the heck they're going to get around to doing that.
Okay. What's the favorite part of your job?
My favorite part of the job is when the client all of a sudden realizes there's hope. Change is possible. When we walk into a solution and that may look or feel hopeless and the homeowner says, I don't even know where to start. And then I come in and I can change that. And when all of a sudden my being there makes enough change in their lives that they can go, oh, I can breathe now. That's my favorite part of the job.
Cool. And current service area?
So I'm based out of Airdrie.
Okay.
Most of my work is in Calgary, Airdrie, and kind of those rural surrounding areas to the north. But sometimes I go outside of that, whether I drive myself, whether we look at virtual organizing as a fit for them. And if neither of those do, then I'll refer them to someone else a little more local to their location.
Okay. And how long have you been doing this professional organizing?
I've been helping people kind of informally since about 2017, just to see if it was something I liked or if it was just a good idea. I had started my business in January 2020, did all my training with the professional organizers in Canada, and then the world shut down. So I did not launch in 2020. the opportunity came up again in July 21. And so Genesis will be celebrating its 2nd year anniversary this summer.
Yeah, congratulations on that, because I know it's always, challenging starting from scratch, starting a business from scratch. So, there's a lot of things to take care of, and then,
It's a learning curve for sure.
I've been doing it for a while, like 2 decades, but year and a half under the Don't Get Hacked business. So it's been like, okay, I have all this experience, and how has stuff changed in the last couple of years? Well, radically changed, right? So
much.
Oh, in your profession, I'm assuming you're not really using computers that much, or?
Well, I've been kind of thinking about this, and I'm like, maybe 20%.
Okay.
Whether that's virtual organizing is one.
Okay.
Continuing education, so I can serve my clients better.
Okay.
Virtual networking.
Yes.
Typing, basic typing, emails, contracts, researching product. Okay. I'm like, wow, this could even be 20 to 30%. Like, I'd like to say more almost, but hour for hour, it's probably almost 30% that I actually do on my computer.
Okay. Well, I know there's going to be the business administrative and workflow processes, right? Which is what usually I end up having to, straighten out for business owners when they get stuck at a certain point, or they're looking for efficiencies, right? They're like, I'm doing this, but there's going to be an easier way. And I'm like, of course, there's always an easier way, but then there's changing that workflow in your mindset, right? So,
yes,
because there's a lot of through these interviews, I've noticed that a lot of people who maybe 90% was paperwork before 2020 and COVID is now all electronic. So their business process have changed a lot. It's changed the way they use technology, and now things may be more efficient, and they're like, okay, wow, it's just, and I'm like, well, at least you're adapting. You're not pushing it, you're adapting with the changes and going that way. And it's good to know, oh, well, I do use this, and I do, that's why these questions are nice, because, you start thinking about, oh, what are my actual business processes? And if something happens, I need to know how to keep on going with it, right?
Totally. So, like, when I actually started sitting down and going, okay, not just how much of my day is at the computer, but what are the things that I do with my computer? I was stunned. I listed like 8 things right off the top of my head that I actually sit down and use my computer for, even in my business where I'm working in someone else's home.
Yeah.
Not computers.
And you mentioned you're a singer, right?
I am a singer.
Okay. So I've got some clients who are like voice coaches or piano coaches, and they're like, oh, nothing's computerized. I'm like, you do is really computerized, because now they've shifted from in person to all remote teaching and coaching. So now it's like, okay, new computers, new, cell phones or iPads or whatever. And then online booking now, or before everything was like, I'm like, it's full. I'm like, they've literally gone, everything was offline, and now they're fully electronic. And they're like, I need Google reviews. I need to add this, and I need to add this. And it's like,
it's an interesting world.
I will send you some DIY steps to kind of get you through that. Then you let me know what you can figure out, because, of course, everybody needs to market their business differently now too, right? And then maybe weren't doing that before. Now everything is
pros and cons, pros and cons.
So I was like, yeah, I'm a technology coach. That's what I help people with, right? I'm like, if you want to set up a podcast stream, we can help you with that, computers, data, all that stuff, right? So
DIY is cheaper than traditional marketing and advertising. But it does mean that you have to have more time, energy, and a certain level of computer expertise.
Well, you're either going to be
functionality.
You're either going to be spending time and money training yourself to do it, just so that way you have the knowledge of what you may or may not want to do when you actually go hire a professional. Because since I've been running IT businesses for like almost 20 years, I've gone through so many. At a franchise, the marketing was different because they handled it, but I still had to have local stuff, right? And now that I have to take care of it all. DIY, I hire people. I learn stuff through the process of hiring people. Some things go well, some things don't. And I'm like, okay, next time we're gonna, watch out for these things, right? So,
gotcha.
Cindi, you run into technology issues from time to time?
Yeah, I do. I had to upgrade my computer in my first year of business. What was kind of working for me for personal home stuff, all of a sudden kind of crashed when I started more and more business functions. So I had to buy a whole new computer.
That was like somebody I talked to like 2 weeks ago. I was like, met her through the same group I've met you through. And she's like, it's crashed twice. Somebody needs to fix it. I'm like, Show up to the interview and I'll look at the computer and I'll fix it for you.
So yeah, and so now I'm often dealing with things like upgrades or antivirus software.
Mhm.
Sometimes, occasionally, things like website glitches. So
Oh, yes.
it's
Yeah.
surprising just how many.
My wife's been doing a lot of
Technology
YouTube shorts
issues.
recently, and now YouTube is driving her crazy because she's like, and I'm like, welcome to the figuring out how to fix yourself. You're
Right.
fixing it yourself. She's like, why are you helping me? I'm like, because I don't do the amount of YouTube uploads she does, so she's new territory. So I'm like, perfect. I have a use case scenario here. You make yourself completely frustrated, and then when I start uploading the podcast, this podcast, once it's edited, then I'll be able to see if I run into the same
That makes
issues.
sense.
Because you just you think,
Besides, you'll be an expert by then. You can help me.
because you can watch all the YouTube. You can watch all the do-it-yourself YouTube videos you want. It doesn't mean you're going to absorb all that knowledge because it's somebody else's experience. So
Gotcha.
warning signs and pros and cons of everything, but you're still gonna have to go through the learning steps yourself, right? And then get used to
Unfortunately.
frustrations. So when it comes to solving your own technology issues, then Cindi, do it yourself or do you hire that out?
So I have an administrative background.
Okay.
I'm pretty good with software,
Okay.
but the machines, I have to get help for that kind of thing.
All right.
I'm fortunate enough to have a family friend who's usually available
All right.
when I go into full meltdown mode.
Okay.
But I hate having to depend on him all the time.
Oh, I know. It's perfect. Okay. So there we go. Is there any final words of organization tips or any final words of advice for the audience that you can leave us with?
Organizing is not like what you see on television. It's not like the home edit. It's not like the hoarders show. Every home is different, and no matter what you're dealing with, do a little bit of research to see if it's a professional cleaner or professional organizer who's going to be able to better serve you with your needs. And if so, please feel free to call me. I would love to chat and see if Genesis Professional Organizing can help you.
What's the best way for people to reach out? Website?
Usually my website
Okay.
is genesisorganizing.ca.
Okay. Because I'll put an end card at the end of the podcast just with your name and your website and all that stuff. So,
Awesome.
So do you ever you mentioned the hoarder show. Do you ever run into those experiences?
Of course.
Okay.
Yep.
Just because I know I do a lot of home calls and I may or may not run into them as well. And they're not a lot, but they're there.
I grew up in a very messy home. Nothing scares me to walk into. So I'm learning on expanding my education in that area, dealing with homes that have chronic disorganization going on, or other things like ADHD that are really adding to that frustration of not being able to stay on top of things.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Cindi, for joining us on YYC Business Speed Dating with Magic Mike today.
My pleasure, Mike. Thank you so much for inviting me.
You're welcome.
Thank you for watching Season 2, Episode 10 of Business Speed Dating with MagicMike.com. Today's guest was Cindi Banman. Contact genesisorganizing.ca for all your professional organizing needs.